Hi everyone, my name is Brian and we are going to be looking at the 1170 RapidColor Napkin Pro configuration today. This is our RapidColor system. It comes in a variety of different configurations, but this one specifically is our napkin configuration. At the center of it is our 1170 printer by HP. It's a inkjet single pass printer. It prints up to 11.7 inches wide and up to 36 long. However, with napkins, you really won't run into that. But at the center, that's what we're really looking at is our print head here and then our conveyor here. Let's go ahead and take a look at the napkin feeder, and we'll kind of go through some details there. Now, this is the napkin feeder that's going to come with the system. It is a vacuum-based system, so everything that you need will be included. Excuse me. Starting kind of from end to end here, so you've got the hopper. This hopper can hold 100, give or take. It depends on your napkin and the thickness or more napkins inside this hopper. It can hold up to 3 inches, 3 inches in width on up to 10 inches in width, or 5 inches in length on up to 15 in length. The side guides here are adjustable, so they will telescope in and out. You would just turn these keys right here. We will actually look at that in a little bit greater detail later in the demo. But for now, these will go back and forth. There's also a bar that's right here with suction cups that you can cap each one depending on the envelope. This bar will come up, pull that envelope down, and then feed it through these 2 rollers here. From these rollers, it'll actually go down into the bed. You may not be able to see it here, but again, we'll go over in greater detail later on in the demo. The marble rack registration area right here, it's going to help just with a smooth transition of the envelope from hopper to table, then over to conveyor right here. Then there's also 2 guides here and another guide here, one here, one here. These actually will move back and forth as the feeder is operating and push those napkins into position so that to make sure that they are properly registered and in the right location each and every time as they go down the conveyor. Lastly, that you're going to see is a laser pointer right here, but it's not a laser pointer. It's actually a double sheet detection sensor. That's going to be able to tell if there's ever any napkins that have double sheet fed. One word of advice or wisdom on this: the napkins, we do recommend that you feed them with the fold as the leading edge rather than as the fold as the trailing, because if it's the trailing, they have a tend to open up, but if they're fold leading edge, they can't open up and kind of get jammed a little bit. So that is really about the extent of the feeder here. It comes with the system. This is not attached. It actually does wheel away. Let's actually take a wider step back, and we'll kind of look about the system in the total. So as I said, that does wheel away. This is on a 4-foot table that comes with this particular system. So there are instances where we have users that they may use the napkin feeder and they may use some additional feeders that we sell with this system where they'll wheel that away and use something else. But obviously for this demo, we're just going to focus on napkins. I already touched a little bit about it earlier, but again, this is our 1170 print head. It is a CMYK cartridge-based system, so each one has a cartridge here. Each milliliter is roughly 235 milliliter for each one, for all CMY and black cartridges. This conveyor can run up to 18 inches per second. And again, I believe I said it earlier, but you can do up to 11.7. So you can do a bleed. If you want to do a simple napkin like this, and these are the ones that we're going to be running here today, or if you have something more like this, which is something else that we're going to run with the bleed, in either scenario, you can do that. And speaking of, and considering that these are napkins, the ink that is used with these systems is an Aqueous-based ink, so it does not run. Once these come off and you rub your hands, they won't smudge. And likewise, if you get water on them, they won't run either. Actually, when we get done printing some, I've got some water here on the side. I'll go ahead and show you guys that too. So, in a nutshell, that's really the printer in and of itself. It does have a perforated belt if you would need it. In some cases, you may want a little bit of suction to pull that substrate down, but we have found more often than not, including in today's demo, that we are not going to end up needing the vacuum to run these napkins. But as far as controls are concerned, you do have variable strength for your vacuum and an on-off. You have a variable speed conveyor. Like I said, that 18 inches per second or up to, and an on-off. And then you have a run and a setup mode. So with this, you can either leave it and run and just run it per the name, or if you kick it over into setup, you can independently control the different components for setting things up. One other thing to note too about this particular head is whether it's napkins today or any other substance that we might be printing on, we just like this head to just kiss the surface of whatever it is that you're printing. This particular model, although not necessarily relevant to napkins, this can go up to 10 inches of height adjustment. So whatever it is that you're printing, we just lower that head and just get it just close enough to that surface for a good print. And then finally, you've got the delivery conveyor here at the end. This will again come standard with this unit. We've got these magnetic plates right here that are repositionable, that just stick to this conveyor in any configuration or size that you need it to capture the napkins. This same delivery system, or this conveyor, I'm sorry, the same delivery tray, excuse me, is available both with the napkin and with our package configuration as well. So really, in a nutshell, that's the hardware. Why don't we go ahead and take a jump into the software? So you can see here that this is our software. This is the Zytron DFE software that we're going to be using. It is all browser-based, and it is all PDF. So I'm going to cancel out of this just for a moment. So this is the primary screen that you see here. You've got a list of the files that we're going to be printing or can print with a series of controls. Up here in the corner, you can see we can monitor our ink levels. So all four different ink levels can be monitored here. There's some additional settings in here, but we won't really go too far into that for this particular demo. Whenever you do have your artwork, you simply just use this plus button to upload a PDF from your computer. We've actually already got these loaded, so I'm just going to go ahead and open up one of these. So this particular artwork and the napkins that we're going to be printing on are a 5x5 napkin. This is the primary interface that you work with. So you can nudge these in either direction to whatever setting that you might need. Spin them around if you would need to. You can do, let me get that back in position here. In cases where you have multiple, for example, we actually have another napkin design where it's available in 6 different colors. So it's a 6-page PDF. And in other words, we consider that to be a variable data PDF. You can choose right here to print which page. This particular artwork is just one single piece of artwork, so we're not going to have to necessarily worry about that. And then you can go ahead and change your quantity here as well, however many you need to print. Your quality here and your paper profiles here, they coincide with one another. So you'll notice production. Production is 12 by 600 resolution, and that's associated with the 300 setting. If we come down here and we choose high resolution, Then we could come over here and choose our 600, which that's a 12 by 1200 resolution print capability there. In addition to that, we've got some additional ICC color profiles that we've had custom built for our system. So you can see that there's craft, there's koozie, there's coaster. We even got some napkin that we run as well. Each of those profiles takes into consideration the substrate that you're running on, as well as the absorbency and the color profile. So if you're running on craft, let's say, it's going to look differently than it would something like this, that's more of a pure white. But again, for our napkins, we're not going to necessarily worry about that today. Jumping over here, you've got your media size. So I like to think of this area right here as your canvas. That's what I like to call it. Right now it's an original. So original means it's going to actually read the PDF and capture the size of the PDF. So this particular PDF, as you can see right here, is 5 by 5 inches. But you can, if you would like to, change this to say letter size, to legal. You can custom build your own and put it in here if you would just so happen. Here's one that's 5 by 5, but it's the whole width, the whole 11.7 tall, so we can actually move this napkin up or down. For our purposes, we're actually just going to leave it in original and print from there. And then the last thing that you're going to have is your density sliders here. If you just so happen that you notice that maybe it's heavily saturated in your print, you want to dial that down a little bit, you can actually do that with any of these sliders, whether it's universally here on the top or each of the colors individually here. And then last but not least, there's a Preserve 100% black. That's going to basically give you a spot black instead of a process black or a rich black for printing. So I kind of monkeyed around with this a little bit, so I'm going to actually just cancel and then just jump right back in to go back to our previous settings. So in addition to this software, you also have an additional piece of software. This is our Windows utility. There's not much that you're really going to need to do inside here, but primarily you're going to notice that it's going to track your ink levels again here, and it's also going to track your service station as well. Your service station, or sometimes what we might refer to as the sled, it's actually located under the print head. I will show you guys that actually in a moment. We actually have one here, but it will wipe down the print head and ensure that it stays clear of any blockages so that you don't get any kind of obstruction during your print. You do have some more settings here. You can do some test prints. You can do some calibrations. You can also do a cost calculator. That's actually probably advantageous here. We're going to go ahead and just clear this out back to 0. This particular cost calculator, you would simply just put in whatever price that you paid for your cartridges right here. And then when you actually go in, you can press record ink usage, come over here to the DFE, press print. Once it's finished, come back here and press stop. It will do two things. It will actually measure, based on the cost that you paid for your cartridges, how much you spent monetarily in yellow, magenta, and all the colors. And it'll also tell you how many milliliters you used in that particular print. So you will get a true cost calculation for what one of your envelopes might cost you to print. It's not an estimate. This will actually measure what is being used to do that print. So that's valuable to have as well. Like I said, there's some more things in here. It's kind of beyond the scope of this particular demo, so we won't go into those today. But I think now we're actually to the point where we can go ahead and start getting ready to have this print. So I'm going to jump over here and get us back into position. All right, so we've got our envelope, or not our envelopes, I'm sorry, our napkins, 5 by 5 loaded into the hopper already. I'm going to go ahead and come down and press print on here and then let you watch these run for a little bit. Before I do forget, I did mention just minutes ago about that sled. I want to show you that as well. So this is our primary printer right here. On the back side, you probably can't see it from that angle, but there's a door right here that just simply comes off, and this sled just loads right into that door. Now, this does a couple of different things. If you can see here, I'm going to turn to the other side so I can kind of see myself a little bit. You may or may not be able to tell, but there's a ring right around here that actually will come up and seal up against the print head. By doing that, it ensures that it doesn't dry out and that you get good prints every single time. So in addition to that, you can see that this white area right here, that will actually come and advance under the head and will wipe down to make sure that, again, that there's no blockages and that you're always getting good prints each and every time. So that's the service sled. I just wanted to show that as well. All right, so with that, I'm going to go ahead and press print, and you guys can see these run. Let's just put 40 in. I don't know that we have 40 in the hopper, but that's okay. I'll just press stop. So I'm going to just press print, and then we're just going to wait for the printer to do a little bit of a small clean ahead of time, and then our ready lights will kick on, and I will press start. All right, so we got our conveyor going, and I'm going to come over here, and then this will activate our vacuum, and this will activate the speed for our envelopes. So I'll kick that on. Okay, and we're actually just approaching the end of our napkins right now, so I'm going to go ahead and turn that off, and I will press stop over here, and then let's go ahead and take a look at these napkins that just came out. You can see here, nice and sharp, doesn't smudge, and if we take some water right here, whoop, you can see that there's no blurring or running with the ink either. So, all right, that is really it in a nutshell for our printing. That's our 5x5. Let's go ahead and jump back over to the feeder, and I will go ahead and show you what a changeover looks like so we can set up one of our dinner napkins for today too. So, get our napkins, and I'll set these over. All right, so the first thing I'm going to do is just go ahead and loosen up these guides in the hopper, and just bring these all the way over so that they're out of the way. Morgan, I'm going to actually ask you to come on up if you could. We're going to kind of look at this a little bit with the camera. I'm sorry. With the camera, sorry. And we'll go ahead and take a little bit closer look at this. I'm going to go ahead and run this just a little. All right. So we've got our bar here with these different holes. Now, ideally what you want to have happen is there's an empty hole on each end of the napkin, and then they're filled along the inside. What you don't want is a completely capped off suction cup right on the edge, because then it's not pulling it down, so it has a tendency to fall. So in this particular case, actually I'll take this and loosen this up and move this back and put this into position just to kind of get an idea of where our napkin's going to fall. And there's actually lines on this hopper right here, so you can perfectly center where you're going to have your napkin. I'm just kind of lining it up now. Okay, that looks about right there. Okay, so I'm going to need this furthest one, I believe. Let me just level. No, I'm going to leave that one out. Okay, so I'm going to pop this one off. You can use your fingers. I'm just kind of using a little Phillips flathead here too. You can use either one to just pull these out. Get that out of the way. And pull that out. And I'm actually going to take that and then put it in the one right beside it to fill that one in. So here's one edge. And then our other edge, I'm going to put this back to get an idea, is going to be right here. So I'm going to pop this one out. I'm just trying to be gentle not to drop it as well, like I just did, but thankfully it landed right there. So I'm going to go ahead and put it right here. And then I have at least one empty spot in the middle. You could pull these out to create more suction in the middle. Okay. Let's go ahead and do that. Okay, I've got that one out. Rather than having three open, let's just put this one in the middle, and then we'll leave, we'll take this one out and just leave it out. And then that should get us set up for this bar to properly feed all these. Okay, so that's that. Now, as I said, we've got our napkin here, and again, with this napkin, we want this finished fold to be the leading edge versus this open, because as you can imagine, as it feeds, it can open up on us. But if it's feeding folded as the leading edge, it doesn't have a tendency to open up. Secondly, the second edge, that's the next fold, you're going to want to use that as your bottom edge so that this bar can actually push up this napkin into position when we get to this point. So I'm going to go ahead and just put this into position here. Again, get it about where I need it. And then loosen these back up. Oh, they're still loose. And then just slide these back into position. And then just tighten this down. I'm going to do it for this back one that's closest to me. Just kind of making sure that this is still centered where it needs to be. Put this one. And then you don't want this super tight because you do want these napkins to be able to free fall. You don't want it to be so loose that they just fall down without anything. If you notice, I should have kept my screwdriver. Let's do that right here. If you can see on camera, right here, and then even better, here, here, and here, there are fingers. Those fingers are actually bent inward, and they're kind of under the lip of the bottommost napkin to keep it from completely just falling down through the hopper, and keeping it up so that this bar can come up, grab it, and pull it down. So, all right, so we've got, I think, the hopper pretty much set into position. So let's go ahead and take these and get them all into position. So they go like this, and we'll drop them right here. Okay, that looks pretty good. Okay, so we're going to leave it like that. We'll do a trial run when we're done. This can go ahead and stay in position, but I am going to take one of these and actually use it to size up further down. So again, I'm going to approximately center here, and then I'm going to back this screw and this screw off so that these can come out. So I'm going to loosen this one up and move it out. Oh, and one thing of importance too, as this is being done, I'm going to actually put that back into position. I'm going to turn this on temporarily and make sure that this is in the up position. It's the furthest most up position. That's going to be important. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and take this and put it approximate where it needs to be, and then move this one up and loosen this and move it down. And then I'm going to say that's about where it needs to be. I'm going to back this off just a hair and tighten it there. I'm going to take this one and tighten it there. Okay, now, if I did this right, we shouldn't have any issue, but sometimes it does take a little finesse, but let's go ahead and see here. So I'm going to just run this nice and slow after I turn on the vacuum, of course. Okay, so it's not pulling, so that means I need to loosen these up a little bit. So let's just back these off a little bit to take a little bit of the tension. Okay, let's try that. Turn the air back on. Okay. Let's go there, okay? I'm just going to see. Okay. All right. Let's go ahead and take these out and reseat them. All right, there we go. All right, well, let's try this again. Turn this back on. All right, there we go. So I just needed to reseat it. Sorry about that. All right, so let's run this nice and slow. Okay, now I noticed as I'm going, I kind of guessed a little wrong. So what I'm going to do, this is too low, so I'm going to take this, loosen it up, move it up in a better position right there, and tighten that back down. And then I'm going to run this nice and slow again. Okay, and then I'm going to go ahead and tighten this one up. Okay, and there we go. All right, I'm going to turn this vacuum back off, lay that one back in here, and lay this one back in. Make sure I put these last few that I put in, they're all the same orientation. Okay. All right. Let's print one. Take a look how it works, and we'll go from there. All right. So I'm going to just go ahead and just print one for right now, and then take a look here. So again, we're going to wait for this to turn on. And then I'm going to walk over and turn on the air and the feeder as well. And I'm going to reposition these magnets so they're nice and big and they can capture. So I'm going to turn on my conveyor, turn on my air, come over here and just feed one. All right. I'll go ahead and turn that off. And then you can see right there. Oh, with our other napkin. Again, this is a dinner size. It's a little difficult to see, but there's a full bleed. So that is it in a nutshell for our napkin feeder. If you have any questions, please feel free to reach out. Excuse me. Thank you so much for taking the time. We can be found at postmark-usa.com. Thanks and have a wonderful day.